Hello everyone, and welcome back to my book review channel / reading diary. The subject of today's review is another historical book entitled By the Blood of Heroes, The Great Undead War by Joseph Nassise, published by Harper Voyager. The First World War is one of my personal favourite periods in history, particularly the part of it that is covered in this book, namely the latter phase in the early 1920s. As we all probably remember, at this point the Central Powers are on the brink of victory. Paris is in their sights, Russia has already fallen and been colonized, and the Allies' technology cannot possibly keep pace with the German corpse gas, an unholy offspring of occult magic and dark science that turns all casualties on the battlefield into zombies. All offer hope that the Allies may yet win. This book is an absolutely magnificent piece of academic writing that really allows the reader to engage and imagine themselves a part of the time period which it describes. There are many interesting depictions of the technology that the Allies had developed by this point, including Tesla's electromagnetic guns, the gigantic airships, and of course the underground drilling machines, as well as the high-tech mechanical prosthetics that allow soldiers with missing limbs to still function as if they were physically intact. I particularly enjoyed the descriptions of aerial engagements, such as those in which the legendary ace Baron Manfred von Richthofen fought. After he was shot down, of course, the zombie gas was able to revive him, and he turned out to be one of the very, very few zombies, or shamblers, as of course they were known in the slang of the trenches of the day. He was able to retain his cognitive faculties as well as full physical mobility, rendering him extra dangerous in the skies over northern France. This book is absolutely thrilling, and I cannot recommend it highly enough. That was weird. It's almost like I crossed over from some kind of strange, twisted, alternate dimension where World War One was a steampunk pulp fantasy from the 1930s, and there was zombies and oh no, my goodness me! I just read The Blood of Heroes. This is quite possibly the worst book I have ever read, and I don't say that lightly. First of all, it is riddled with spelling and grammatical errors, though admittedly this may simply be because I happen to have a copy marked, and I quote, "uncorrected proof not for sale" underneath the surtitle there on the page. I can only assume that they thought this book was going to sell so badly that they were just hurtling out anything they could to try and make some of their money back. And given that this was written in 2012, and there has yet to be a sequel in what I presume would have been an epic fantasy trilogy, yeah, I think we can probably say goodbye to that idea. Now, normally I'm a fan of steampunk, and I'm definitely an enthusiast of World War One. That part is something that is accurate in both our universe and that one. But for some reason, this just seems so formulaic. Quite apart from anything else, the whole zombie theme has been done to death. But mostly in a sort of World War II setting for the whole military zombies affair. And this poses a difficulty because in World War II, you can get away with that because there was a clear villain to a greater extent, whereas the First World War is just human tragedy. And so the whole zombie storyline just seems a little bit tasteless, particularly when we suddenly encounter the blonde Anglophone heroes of the story who encounter the bloodthirsty, in some cases cannibalistic Germans. All in all, it is simply rather tasteless, particularly during this period of World War One commemoration. I realise it was trying to ride the tidal wave of World War One centenary enthusiasm, but it completely missed the mark. Unfortunately, there's simply altogether very little of any value in this book. I haven't read any of the author's other works, so I have nothing to compare it to. Perhaps this is just a fluke, and we don't want to be too harsh. But really, even as an educational tool for how not to write a novel, I wouldn't necessarily recommend buying this one, unfortunately. But you live and learn. In case anyone is still confused, this was my April Fool's Day video. Normally this book wouldn't even qualify to get on the channel since it's fiction, but I thought there was just about enough overlap to justify it, and I have been looking forward to doing this one, just as a one-off. Now, I hope you all enjoyed this, and please feel free to discuss in the comments any recent books you have read. Now, before I go, I'm going to do something that I probably should have done a while ago, and plug a fellow YouTuber's channel. He is known as Gitbag, aka Ted, and if you like my stuff, namely primarily history, I think you might like his channels as well. Any fan of history, science fiction, video games, and cooking will no doubt find something there to amuse themselves. He does video game let's plays, pieces to camera, reviews of various foods, as well as his own recipes. So you never know, check him out. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. Otherwise, do feel free to subscribe if you want more reviews upcoming in the future. I hope you all have fun reading, and don't forget to read responsibly.